time.
Well, we want to thank you for coming in, Attorney, as always. I forgot this was an election year, and as you see, that's Mr. Story. Some of this, what we're talking about, and what you just got finished talking about, if he was elected as state senator, I would imagine you'd have to deal with some of these issues, huh?
Well, certainly would. It's a very, very big issue in our area, and I do appreciate the opportunity that they have for our residents to go get this information. As I say, information is power, because this, in my personal business, I'm in the home medical equipment business, and I run into a lot of people a lot of times that are underinsured, improperly insured, that don't even have anything at all, and don't understand what their benefits are. So this is a good opportunity, and I think this Alabama Tom Bigby is part of this operation. Yes. Good organization that helps a lot of people in the community. And
well,
so
thank
they
you.
serve this whole area.
Yeah, that's pretty good timing. Attorney, well, we'll see you next. I'm going to come out today because I'm going to come out and take some pictures.
Oh, awesome.
Yes,
thank you so much. And we love coming to see you folks, and we hope every turn out.
All right, thank you so much. Okay. All right, we're going to take, we're going to do this we're going to segue into the next segment. And of course, Mike Reynolds is going to do most of the talking here.
We're gonna let candidate Mark Story do most of the talking.
I mean, questioning, not talking. Mr. Story is going to.
And we're gonna let the callers.
All right, when the callers, that's right. They're able to call in too.
What a huge topic, and to caboose on to what Clayton just said. This insurance thing is so darn complicated. And I was in one of those situations personally where I had to really do some research to get the proper health care coverage. And my wife and I were discussing this actually this morning because she does, in fact, she receives some disability income and she qualifies for Medicare, and the whole thing changes this year. Everything is different. And just about the time we got to where we thought we understood what we were doing, it changed, Mark, and I know you deal with that in your business.
Yes, certainly we do. And as you pointed out in your household as an example, and as Clayton mentioned as well, the husband could have some certain needs and the wife have something different. They may have an adult child live with them as well. They may have a different need as well. And there's a lot of stuff to look at. Who the providers are in your area. Does your physician take whatever plan you're going to? Same as the drug plans. We run into this a lot with the medical equipment. We may have a patient on oxygen that changes to a different plan, but we can't provide for them. The only provider may be out of town. So that's a lot of stuff to look at.
It's pretty serious.
Yeah, it's serious. So it's not unusual to have multiple plans within a home for various spouses.
Well, I noticed this year, I'm glad that they made it so that whatever part of the county you live in, they had 2 weeks ago they were at the health department in Selma, now they're in Valley Grande, so they were servicing, as much of the population to be centrally located as they can. So if you're listening and you need to go and take advantage of this workshop, they will help you save money. I've heard a lot of people.
Well, even if you don't think you have a snowball's chance of being qualified in anything they're talking about, if I had time, I'd go up there because certainly there are going to be folks to ask questions.
Right. The
same kind of questions I have as I try to figure out this complicated stuff, and it's very complicated. And if you want to make it even more complicated, go talk to the folks at the healthcare facilities, the hospitals, the folks that provide health care. It's amazing. Mark, good to have you on the program.
Appreciate it, Mike.
All right, let's talk about something. Let's go ahead and get and we're going to let some callers jump in here and get into this. Bring everybody up to date and let everybody know what's going on, because there are a lot of questions out there. You and I had a chat earlier this week with a very upscale person in the community, and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna vote for you. I'm gonna write you in." The deal is, you don't have to write anything in. Your name is on the ballot. You have qualified as an independent candidate. You had to go through a process of having petitions signed, filed with the Secretary of State. Your name is on the ballot.
Exactly, Mike. A lot of people remember the petitions going around earlier. What that was the access to the ballot. We got over 2,000 signatures on there to allow us to be placed on the ballot. So you're exactly right. I'm on there as an independent candidate, not affiliated with any party. We've been certified through the state. We're on all the ballots all over the state. People are already voting on those ballots. But yeah, the concern about how to do this, a lot of them say, yeah, I'm writing in. And exactly as you said, I hear that frequently. They don't have to write me in. I'm on the ballot. So I'm just as legitimate as anybody else on the ballot. So, yeah.
A lot of folks don't understand that Senate District 23 was redistricted this past legislative session. So a few areas in some of the southern and southwestern counties went away, and some other population areas were added, but you're still covering roughly 5 counties?
It's actually 8 counties.
I'm sorry, 8
Yeah,
counties.
yeah, it says 6 entire counties and portions of 2. And you're exactly right. There's people that contact me every day that say, you've not put signs in our yard yet. Well, they're not in my district anymore. And it's news to a lot of them. And when we first started in this process, a lot of people didn't realize that they had just recently been redrawn, those districts.
What about Dallas County? Is it all of Dallas County?
100% of Dallas County. I can name them: Dallas, period, Lowndes, Wilcox, Butler, Conecuh, portions of Marengo, portions of Monroe County, 2/3 of Monroe, and over in the Linden area in Marengo County. So it's a lot of coverage. It goes down just kind of the reference point. A lot of people, when you're headed to Mobile, headed to the beach, when you're going down the interstate, the rest areas are in this district. That's a long way from here.
That's halfway to Gulf Shores.
That's what we always call the halfway point as a kid. We knew we were almost to the beach, but you think about from northern Perry County to the southern part of Conecuh County, that's almost to the Florida line. You're 1 county away from Florida down there, so it's a lot of real estate, a lot of
Let
areas.
me ask you, what are some of the issues that you're running up on, and what is your platform for this run?
Randy, what I run across all the time, and this is things that I've observed from myself as well, is economic development. We seem to get overlooked frequently from the powers that be in Montgomery. No matter who's been in charge of whether it's Democrats or Republicans, we've been overlooked in this area, and we need an opportunity to get jobs in here, industrial development into our areas. Our tax base is not as much as those other areas, and it's, we got a lot of farmland, a lot of timberland, a lot of vacant land, people moving away, but we still have a lot of potential in this area. Obviously, we have resources, and we have a lot of people willing to work, wanting to work, and we've got to get people to recognize that in Montgomery, that we need our chance at that.
As an independent, do you think that if elected, that you would be able to, it would put you in a position to work with both parties, or what?
Exactly, and I this is something I hear every election cycle. People say, I don't want to have to vote Republican. I don't want to have to vote Democrat. I want to choose the person that, I like this guy. I like what he says. I don't want to have to go by what the party dictates. And that's what this is, opportunity is independent. That's going to give them opportunity to choose the person based on that person, not what the party dictates to them. But to answer your question, when we get to Montgomery, we have to work with the powers that are there. And it's obvious. We're in the Senate, Republicans are 3-1 to Democrats, a House 2-1. If we send a Democrat over there, they're not going to be able to work within the confines of what's there. We can go there and we can try to prove our point. We're Democrats, and this is, we're going to prove our point. But as an independent, I've already reached out to both sides, and they understand, and they're willing to work with us, and that's what we've got to do. We've got to send somebody over there willing to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's often said, and I don't want to coin a phrase used by anybody else, but by gosh, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And we've said this on this program, Mark, many times. Governors get elected, powerful senators get elected. They drive around us and fly over us. They consider this to be a, pardon the phrase, but a wasteland where we should be just handed out some federal checks and some federal money, and our poor black folks just need to be on this island over here, and we're going to patronize them, but we're not going to really give them any opportunity. And I'm tired of seeing the roads going to Auburn, the roads going to Huntsville. I travel around the state. I see the infrastructure everywhere but here.
Exactly, Mike. And you hit on a good point there. this area traditionally votes Democrat. So a Democratic candidate on the state level, he knows, I've got these in my pocket. I really don't have to do much for these people. Just go there, wave, kiss a baby or two, shake hands with a few people, and move on. He goes to the areas that are in play. He goes in areas that these people might vote for a Republican, they might vote for a Democrat. The Republicans don't bother coming here other than to do the same thing, kiss a few babies, shake hands, and move on.
Except John McCain. John McCain is the only...
Did him a lot of good, didn't it?
But you look at it, this area rarely supports the Republican candidate ever, and so they don't waste a lot of effort, resources here. They don't have to negotiate and work with people. If we were all in play here, the possibility of getting those people here to look at us, to recognize our potential and what we can do, that's what we've got to do. And this actually is running as independent, gives us that opportunity. The Democrats don't have to go so far as to vote for Republican. Republicans don't have to go so far as to vote for a Democrat. I'm there in the middle and willing to work to make this community a better place.
Now we're running some commercials encouraging people to vote on a straight Democratic
Hey,
ticket.
political commercials, Randy. Make sure you say that.
Well, this is pay. That's right. But the thing is, I'm hoping that people are not confused in that many of the candidates that have already received a Democratic endorsement, they don't have anybody running against them. People need to remember that you're the only person that's really on this locally, that's on the ballot.
That's really up for grabs, is what you're trying to say. The other candidates without opposition on the Republican
No
side,
opposition, that's right. They're going to get in either way.
If nobody votes for them and somebody writes in one name, that's a problem.
Then that's a problem,
but,
right.
what you're trying to say is,
he's got a shot, is my point.
Mark is the only candidate in a contested or reasonably contested race.
Yeah.
And that's exactly right, Randy. That a lot of these races have been decided. They were decided in June for this area, and just like the fluke of somebody doing a write-in campaign to get some enough votes. But most of those races are decided. Dallas County pretty much decides their offices in June, and good or bad, that's what they are here. And if somebody chooses to vote straight Democrat, which they can at the top of the ballot, as your paid political announcements talk about, they can make that mark at the top, but they can also go straight on down to Senate District 23 race and mark an independent candidate, Mark Story.
They can vote both?
They can do that.
I didn't know that.
And I know that's been a point of contention and question. It was actually even as late as recently as Channel 8 News this morning. They had someone is disputing that. But the Secretary of State's office has put out a statement that you can do that. I've checked with probate judge after probate judge in every county to make sure that we're all on the same page with that. And they said, certainly you can. You can make a mark at the top, whether straight Democrat or straight Republican, go down in any race in there, do a contradictory mark that does not affect anything but that one race.
That's interesting. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, I did. It came up 4 years ago. I think we had a situation where it was a regional race. I want to say it was either a House race or a Senate race where that was the case. All right, Mark. Let's get down to the. Let's put the rubber on the road. I did a little homework. 2017 census data, updated from the 2010 census. 65.8% of the people that live in this Senate district are black. Traditionally, if there's a black candidate on the ballot, they're going to vote for the black candidate. And in certainly this case, there is. How in the world do you feel like you're going to get enough votes, enough black votes, to be elected?
Your numbers are very true. I've heard figures around that, but that's beside the point. The vast majority of voters in this district are black. But I have a confidence in these people, all people. Now, I'm not talking code when I say any of this stuff. This is stating facts. I have faith in the people of this district to vote for what they think is best when given the choice, not having it dictated to them who they're supposed to vote for, but when they're given the choice, an opportunity to meet both candidates. And again, I'm not saying anything negative about my candidate, but I would like them to know me. I'm born and raised in this community, and maybe we can get into that a little bit, but this is home for me, and a lot of people here know of me, but they don't really know me. And I would love to, give them the opportunity.
Which leads me to it just dawned on me. Yeah, why are you running? Most people wouldn't have most people would have said, well, the Democratic endorsement is done.
Yeah.
So what inspired you, or what made you say, well, I'm going to run?
Well,
to win.
Well, and Randy, I'm glad you asked that, because that's obviously a very important question. I'm on the Dallas County Board of Education, been there for around 18 years. I'm the chairman of the board, and I had my sights on running for that seat, the Senate seat, for years. And Senator Sanders is a very powerful person. He's got a machine in place where it's easy for him to be reelected. And I was observing when he retired that I would run, and I followed him closely in his editorials and listening to him. And I thought maybe he wouldn't run this past time, but when he said he was going to run again, as well as other political types and business leaders in our community said they were watching and they would like to run. But when it happened the way it did, it stepped up my time frame that I had to run.
Explain to us what happened and the way that it did.
All right, we'll go there.
So everybody's on the same page. This is only fair.
And let me say this too. Obviously, what he did was legal. Was it good sportsmanship? I don't know. But he withdrew his name. His daughter put her name in, and she is basically, as we talked about earlier, June sets who your candidate is, and most likely going to be the winner. So by putting her name in at the last minute, no one else was willing to run against an incumbent as powerful as Senator Sanders. So, and a lot out of respect to him as well, not to run against him. He's a very well known, very well recognized figure here. But out of respect, they didn't run against him. But when he did what he did, and she got in there, she was going to be it.
So, and the reason, again, I don't want anyone to take this as an endorsement or not an endorsement, but from the kind of feedback that I get on the street and from what people expect from me as far as an analysis, to break it down a little further, a lot of people were offended and felt that it was a strategy that basically locked anyone else out from being able to compete. They didn't feel like it was fair. Because it was done at the very last minute. Was it the day of when he decided not to run? And
yeah, my understanding is
something like that. I've forgotten all the details. And so the only reason why I make the note so that our audience, again, my mission is to encourage independent thought and for people to take an assessment. We know one thing: whoever wins, we need to, like you said, Mike, we got to do something different. Because we're in the hole right now.
Here's the history, and to defend Senator Sanders, and I think Mark will agree with this. When we had Democratic leadership in the Senate, when we had a Democratic governor, Senator Sanders was effective. And I know I worked with him personally on some projects that brought in really good money for Craig Field to help us land some industry. So when the state had at least close to a half of Democratic representation in the legislature, Hank Sanders was effective, and we got a lot more. He had to have
right support in order to have gotten any of that done.
That was done. That was over with 8 years ago. So the unfortunately, I hate to use this word, the dynamics have changed, and whoever goes to Montgomery to represent our poor Senate district, and I'm tired of saying that, to represent the highest poverty level, to represent the highest unemployment in the state, whoever goes to Montgomery to get anything is going to have to reach across the aisle no matter what.
Exactly. And as you stated, Senator Sanders at one point was considered one of the most powerful men in Alabama. He held the purse strings of the Education Trust Fund. But that was at a different era, like you said, different dynamics at that time. And but Don Siegel was not there anymore. The Democrats are not in charge. So, and as you said too, I hate to keep talking about this too as well, but it's a fact. It's a fact. We're 29% below the rest of the state in take-home pay for our community here. You know, and when I say that, that's the entire district. We're talking 8 counties. We're below the state, basically a third below.
So what could you
everybody
do different as if you become the elected state senator? What is your platform and what can you do to impact those numbers?
else. Okay. And jobs is going to be it. And then I know, and I can't promise we're going to open a factory here or there or wherever. And that's obviously beyond the ability of one person to do. But what I can do is work with the economic development boards of all these counties. The government as close to the people as possible, see what their needs are, and be their representative in Montgomery to work with and demand attention. Not looking for some special interest or some government program. We want to get legitimate investments here. And people need to understand how business comes to a place. It comes there out of a need they're trying to profit. They're trying to create a profit. We gotta have an infrastructure. We gotta have the dynamics in the community that's welcoming to a business to be here, to expand, and that's got to be done through relationships. And relationships go from Montgomery to each of the individual counties, the individual economic developments, the industries, and that's what I want to do in the first few weeks is meet with these groups and these communities. And I'm not going to keep saying black and white, but I'm going to say the people that are there, I want to work with those people. And it's not to prepare me for running again, because as far as I'm concerned, there could be term limits. I don't care. But what we need to do is get this place up and running, and it's all about profit for businesses. And I know profit's a dirty word for some people, but that's what makes the wheels turn. That's how we get things done.
Unfortunately, we seem to have a real unique situation in Selma. I don't even know if we want to get you in that conversation or not, Mike. What do you think about the commenting on Selma's governmental situation right now?
Well, there's nothing any candidate can say that the public out there doesn't already know. We got a mess, and the mess is out of control. And I hate to be critical because everybody that knows me knows I've worn out my pom poms. I've been cheerleading for this place for a long time, but we got the biggest mess we could possibly ever have, and we got a clean house when it comes to the municipal election. Mark's not saying that.
And don't forget to check out the Youth Model ATVs.
All right, we're recording.
Time for Christmas while they last. Lee Motorsports, Highway 80 East, Selma.
1490 WHBB. Welcome back to Viewpoint. Our guest this morning is Mr. Mark Story, an independent candidate for the District 23 Senate race, not a write-in. I saw a story this morning. I was probably watching the same news segment you were watching on Channel 8, and they did the story on the guy that's in Prattville that's got this long write-in name. He stands a snowball chance in summertime, to win. I mean, how are you going to win with a name that long that says, I want you to write this name in?
And it used to be, it could be just the intent of the written name. Now it has to be an exact match.
Oh, no. That's what I mean. Yeah,
so,
I don't
know if you've ever been there when they're looking at that, but there'll be Santa Claus and everybody.
Mickey Mouse,
yeah,
Popeye, all that.
And to defend Mickey Mouse, he would probably do a better job than some of our elected officials.
Yeah, I can't say anything about that, but I know Mickey does pretty well usually.
875-1490 is the number to call. Are you still there, caller? How are you this morning? Yes, sir.
I got a response the other day from one of his, one of his workers, but the question I had on the floor, my question is going to be to remain the same. What is the policy that you have for our community economically? Now, if none of the candidates answer that question for me, I'll keep on walking.
Okay, and he just answered it earlier, but let me let him speak for himself.
I think I understand what you're asking, talking about economic development for our community. I'm thinking that's where we're going on that. And as I touched on just a minute ago, you may not have heard that, but business does not operate just to provide jobs. They're there to make a profit for themselves, and in order to do that, they have to have employees and good trained employees to do that work. And that's what I want to do is in create an environment that's going to work with industry to entice them to be here. There has to be a reason to be in Selma or Dallas County or this entire district. There's a lot of country they can be at. So what we want to do is having an inviting infrastructure, inviting environment to get these people in here. And that's done through working with the local communities as well as Montgomery. Economic development people are out hustling every day. Our local group here in Selma Dallas County are always reaching out to industry, trying to entice them to be here. And there has to be a reason for them to want to be here, not just say, hey, we need jobs here. But so that's what's important is.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
I want him to really understand. I'm from Tennessee, and I'm gonna tell you something. We got industry there. You know why? Because we go to work on our land, and like you said, if they see you working, they gonna come and join you working. And the reason that community is like that up there is the way they was educated in that type of way. And what I noticed here down here in Dallas County, somewhere somebody dropped the ball on the next generation to teach them how to be economic developers at the local level. Somebody dropped the ball.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for the question and the comment. I've got some other folks. But okay, thank you. We got some other folks trying to get
Hang on
through.
before you take.
But go ahead. He's got a question for you. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. You can let him go. I was going to make a comment about improvement in the potential. And I've mentioned this several times. Take nothing away from my close friend, Menzo Driscoll, who just retired from the Airport Authority. But I want to toss this one at you, Mark, because in my mind, the Airport Authority has just made a tremendous decision in the right direction to hire a guy as executive director with a background in aviation, military and aviation. That in and of itself sends a message to the aviation community that we're serious about trying to attract aviation-related industry at Craig Field. And it's a decision in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's the first governmental appointment or the first governmental hire around here that doesn't appear to be a political hire.
Wasn't that very refreshing to
was.
Just to have that that's not somebody's buddy or somebody's big friend and all. But exactly, that's the kind of thing we got to do. That's setting the environment, setting the tone for what we're expecting. You know, if we present someone like that has this aviation background, and those of you that aren't into aviation or flying, you know, there's an airport out there. That's a huge runway. That is a massive runway. I have my pilot's license. I haven't flown in several years though, but I always knew, and everybody in Alabama knew, if you got in trouble anywhere in central Alabama, you had a good airport to go to. This is a good runway. You can take off and land several times in the length of the runway and can take some very large aircraft, you know. And that's something a lot of industry, aviation industry especially, we look at. Even package transports, that kind of thing. You know, FedEx's, UPS's, those kind of people. FedEx has just took over Memphis, that area up there.
Oh man, yeah, I was there back in April, and boy,
Yeah.
They closed the Memphis airport at midnight to commercial traffic
what?
because FedEx fires out about 200
Planes?
aircraft
Wow.
between midnight and 3 a.m.
Wow, I
which
didn't
is
know that.
amazing. Yeah, you can't fly to Memphis.
Oh, they own Memphis though. I can tell they downtown Memphis.
And
Yeah.
the FAA works around FedEx to facilitate that. Just like you're saying, closing the airport. FAA constantly is thinking about FedEx. And some people I know through the industry has mentioned that this is an outstanding place.
Opportunity for them.
This could be an outstanding opportunity for us.
Right.
I don't know how, but that's the kind of thing we need to be looking
I
at. We
hear
have
you.
resources here. I know everybody points at the river and we got highways and all that, but we have this runway here. We have a lot.
I'm told it's one of the
resources.
longest airstrips in the state.
Yeah, I don't want to quote the length of it, but
Yeah.
it is. It's one of the largest ones and just about handle any kind of aircraft.
Yeah,
coming
the
in.
president can land.
8,427 feet.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
You sound intimately familiar with it, Mike. I remember some of your stories with the governor,
I
huh?
pulled the yoke back once or twice.
Yeah.
We got-
It's been years, but I've flown.
We got some questions for you. Looks like Viewpoint. You there, caller? Good morning. How are you?
I'm well. I just want to say to Mr. Story that everybody has a right to have gotten in that race. They had a chance to. To say that you were fearful of running against Hank, that's a cop-out. Because if you truly believe in what you believe in, you would go up against them. Giants do fall. And nobody, I mean, there'd be truthful about, everybody know that Mr. Sanders had a health scare. And this happened at a point when he really didn't know what was going on. It wasn't, as we say, an intended plan. But he did nothing illegal because Wallace White did the same thing. It's just that when black people do it, then it becomes, you want to label it as illegal. And also what I think is defrauding the people is, you are a Republican. You run against yourself as a Republican. And when you get to Montgomery, if you make it to Montgomery as an independent, you're going to be working with Republicans because that's who you are, Mom. You are a Republican. And to some of the people that you're an independent, that's not so. So you can't talk about other people being defrauded and not being what they're supposed to be. When you were telling the people that you're an independent, you know that you're not. And as far as community, what you plan to do for the community, you have to start at the grassroots. You should have been doing some things and trying to get some communities, get affiliated with these communities in their needs. And not just run because people put you out there to do it.
Okay, let's give him an opportunity to
and be true to the people. Talk about fake news. This is fake news because we who know you know that you are a Republican. And if the people want to go out and vote Republican, they have that choice. Thank you.
All right, thank you for calling. Did you want to respond to that, Mr. Story?
There's a lot in all that. Never implied that what Senator Sanders done was illegal, but he had a lot of supporters that would have loved to have the opportunity to run. I guarantee you, if it would have been announced a month out, there would have probably been 20 people, at least 20 people. Probably the vast majority of them would have been good quality candidates, black and white, that would have run for this. But it's no reason to fall on the sword for something you know you're not going to win. I mean, you see how many people run against Senator Sanders over the years. Many of them did, and it was just a exercise in futility to do that. And as far as working in the community, I've been on Dallas County School Board for 18 years. And part of my business that I do, I do, for those of you that don't know, I do provide home medical equipment and supplies throughout this area. And I'm in homes every day, from the lowest income level to the highest income level. And I see all sorts of situations. And I talk to people. I strike up conversations with these people. And we talk about, you ever think about it, no matter what their color, we have the same desires. We hate to see our children move away from here. We want our children to be close by us. We want our communities to do well. We want to feel safe. And we want a nice community to live in. Everybody has that same desire to do that.
Yeah, let's come up on this. We were just talking about that last week. In fact, if you recall, Mike, one of the callers that said, what does the elite part of Selma want? What does white Selma want? You know, it was a black caller.
Same thing she wants.
And that's what you basically said last week.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And see, people try to separate us, continue to separate. Well, this is a white issue. Oh, this is a black issue.
It's the same issue.
It's the same issue. We all want safety. We want clean streets. We want safe schools for our kids. We want opportunities for our young people. That's another thing. Part of the school board, when we see children graduate, the young men and women, I get a little bit sad seeing it because I know the vast majority of those kids will leave here never to return. That may be the last night that they're in Selma, Dallas County, that their opportunities are elsewhere.
We need to change that. Let's take a couple more calls. Viewpoint, you still there, caller?
Good morning, Randy. How you doing?
Oh, gosh. That's the Colonel. Doing fine. How are you? We've got Mr. Mark Story as our guest this morning.
To the conversation there, and it's a very simple solution. If you want change in Dallas County and all the surrounding counties, you got to vote for change. And you know, when you got 260,000 jobs that have just been created, they were created because of President Trump, and he brought about change, and America is great again. And if you want to change Dallas County and the surrounding county,
You got to vote for somebody new. It's as simple as that. It's not black and white. It's not blue and purple. It's just getting off of the stupid button and voting for somebody that can get the job done. It's that simple. And I'll tell you what else. You'll get honesty. You'll get honesty and hard work if you elect Mark Story. What do you say to that, Randy?
Well, I'm not making endorsements this morning, but I'll tell you what. One thing that I do
That
say,
is not a paid political advertisement by Brock Wills, unless, Colonel, you want to send me a check. Now, we can make that a paid political announcement.
well,
To the president's meeting here in Pensacola tomorrow and get you and Randy a Make America Great hat. You want it in red, white, or what color you want?
it doesn't matter. Bring one
Yeah.
back. Bring it on back.
We'll wear it,
You
man.
sure
We'll
will.
wear it on the show one of these mornings when Randy's doing the Facebook live thing or the Facebook.
Yeah, it's going to
video
go on,
thing.
and it's going to go on YouTube also. But no, Colonel, my concern, and I'm not saying anything new. I've been saying this all along. My concern is that whoever in any of these elected offices has the ability to reach across the aisle, because the reality is we are in a super red state. The Republicans have a super majority. And so we need to find a way to get some things done for us in this area. And, however we do that, as you know, I'm almost borderline, almost tempted to become Republican, because I don't think there's enough African Americans involved in the Republican Party. There's no law that says we can't be. We need to do something, though. That's all I know. As far as that's concerned. But my position,
Doing a lot to get Black America involved in his situation. And if you look at the young gal, what's her name? Oh man, that's running the youth group for the black community.
which one?
The good-looking young black woman, huh?
Which one? What state? This is my.
Well, they had him up to the White House the other day.
Oh no, I watched. I finally got up on that. The black entrepreneurs, and they were all on the same page because they were speaking the same language. And I know folks want us to buy into saying that our president is prejudiced. I don't believe that. And I studied his body language, and I studied how warmly he received them and how much he appreciated having an African American group embrace some of the things that he's talking about. Yeah, what's not only what's in it for me, what have you done for me lately? But I'm not going to get started on that this morning. But go ahead.
Colonel, let me jump in there and kind of, I talk to so many really great friends that happen to be black, and I talk to them on a regular basis. We've gone over the Trump issues, and Trump's a white guy with straight hair that is rich, and he's got buildings named after him and all that stuff. And I get the fact that he is a symbol for what we don't have, or what the blacks don't have, specifically in the black community here. I get all that. I defend, to a degree, I defend Hank Sanders. He's been a friend and done some good stuff for us here when he was able to do it. And there's no question that he wanted to continue his legacy by giving his daughter the nomination on a silver platter, and that's exactly what happened. No matter what anybody says, no matter anything about health issues and all that, he probably did the same thing I would do if I had been in his shoes. But I think we're beyond that. The issues now are not related to what Senator Sanders may have done, the decisions he may have made. The issues are, what is it going to take for us in this area, Colonel, to get somebody to listen to us in Montgomery and Washington?
That's right.
What's it going to take?
Well, it's going to change, Mike. And I'm saying this because of Mark. I'm not saying it because he's Mark's story. I'm saying it's because look at what's going on. You got an independent guy running, okay? That would be a big thing in Montgomery. And really, let me tell you what we're doing here in Baldwin County. We're sending a guy, a Republican, who got a DUI down here in Baldwin County. He was a county commission. And the people are going to vote for this buffoon and send him to the state senate. Now, do you want a guy that's got a DUI and lied and cheated to get his way out of it in the Senate at Alabama? No, you want clean, honest people. And Mark Stewart, running as an independent, will provide an honest voice in Montgomery. That's where we need to get some help. Now, as far as Dallas County, I can assure you that if Mark is elected, Dallas County will be seen just because we elected a white independent guy. You know, people will start looking at that area of Alabama, and they will, you know, he will just represent the entire area. And it's the change that's needed. That's what it's going to take.
Well, it'll certainly make news, that's for sure. All right, well, I know we got some other folks trying to get through, but one last thing I'll say about our president, our colonel, is that he has a brother named Fred, and his name is Donald. My deceased cousin's name was Donald, and I had a brother who's deceased, my father, and another cousin named Fred. So anybody with a relative or brother named Fred is all right with me.
And you got to tell us you got a girlfriend named Melania?
Well, I hadn't gotten her. No, actually, I used to have a girlfriend named Freddie. Her name was Freddie. All woman, 100% woman. But her name was Freddie. So anybody that's got Fred in the family is all right with
Colonel,
me.
I think Randy's got a man crush on Trump.
I don't think so.
Make sure you get out and vote on Tuesday, because maintain the House. I think we're going to maintain the House.
All right. Well, I think my prediction is the Senate is going to remain Republican controlled, but the Democrats may get the House. Maybe slight, but I suspect they may get the House.
Well,
History is on their side on that, you know.
I think we're going to maintain the House, but we'll see.
Yeah, it's going to be close. I believe it's going to be close.
All right, Randy,
whatever happens. Yeah. Okay.
Our candidate has got to bug out of here at 9 o'clock because he's got another meeting.
Thank you for calling.
Well, Randy, can I just mention something here too? You know, the issue started going, national and all that, but it's local. It's about what's going on locally. We don't want to get overlooked again in the big scheme of things.
Right.
And we got to send representation to Montgomery that cares about all the people. And just a little quick background: born and raised in Selma. I started elementary school. This is way back, but it's coming to a point here. I started school in 1968. For those of you that remember that was when the Supreme Court broke up segregated schools. So I was the first class of children that started from the first to the end as an integrated class.
Wow.
So I never knew any different other than that. And I know people can poo-poo that and whatever, but my class was approximately 50-50 from beginning to end. Graduated Selma High School in 1980. We were the first class to go all the way through. I know some of them say, well, we were the first graduating class, but they were ones that started and they graduated in 1968. It was different for them. I had 12 years of public education through some great teachers, a lot of great kids. But my point, going a little further with this, fast forward 10 years later, after 1980, we start preparing for a class reunion. And what would that be, 89, 90. And if some of you go back and look in the history, what was happening then in our area here. We had issues with our public school system. And I had friends and classmates that had dispersed all over the country. And all they're doing is hearing the news and all about how terrible racial relations were in Selma and Dallas County. Now I'm here in Selma, Dallas County, with a lot of other friends that were here. And we were trying to help organize a class reunion. Black and white from all over the country, again, they graduated in Selma High in 1980, going, well, we're going to have a white reunion and a black reunion. We can't do it together. And I was furious to even hear that people would think that we had to do that. That's just falling into what some people wanted to do, continue to divide and conquer. But we went on to have an integrated class reunion just like we graduated with. And we had the best time reuniting with friends from all over the country that had gone into being doctors, had gone into being attorneys, gone into being farmers and nurses and just everything. We had a good time, and race relations never even spoken of again at any of our class reunions. We've had a good time ever since. But that's just a little bit about my background and this way I feel and think. We're going to get sucked into that, and I try to avoid making those identifications all the time, but we're forced into it so often here, where even with the school board issue, it doesn't matter is the student black or white. I know some people are going to say it is, or is the teacher black or white. It's about just doing what's right. Can we help this person? Is it within our opportunity to help that person? Is it within our right to help that person, or do what we can for them and to help our community? And when I say united we stand, divided we fall, I'm saying everybody, not all white people, not all black people, all of us together to stand together to make this place a better place. This is home to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And you bring up school board. Dallas County school system, majority black, no secret about that, probably 75% black. And you've been elected, obviously, a number of times.
Right.
I don't think the black-white issue has come into play when folks have voted for you at the ballot box for your seat on the Dallas County Board of Education.
I don't think so, and that's something too. They say, "Oh, that's the white area, that's the white school." But we don't look at it that way. We look at it as a board. We have a black superintendent. We've had numerous ones. We have majority black school system, majority black school board. But we all work together, and you can talk to board members if you'd like. I've known Mr. Miner, one of the board members. I don't want to call a lot of names, and I'm not saying he's endorsed me at all, but I knew him as a teacher when I was at Westside. I've had a long relationship with a lot of these people, and you can ask them about.
Well, there are areas in the state. Coleman, I think, Coleman had a black representative at one point. Some of the areas in North Alabama where you have majority white population. Is that where they got the sign that says "Don't let sunset catch you here if you fly"? Well, see, isn't that right? Isn't that where that is? I don't know. I hadn't heard that. Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. Well, if that is, they have a black representative representing their area. So my point is, I think that many times, just as with Obama, President Obama, it's not always about. It's not about race, and I certainly hope that people don't just. Look at race when it comes to making our political decisions. We need to be looking at skill set and heart. Does the candidate have a heart for serving the people? Are you a servant leader? And do you have the skill set that complements whatever the office is that you're running for?
He's got to run. Yeah. I want to thank you for being courageous enough to come in here and have a conversation with a white Democrat and a black Republican.
Yeah, I don't see that too often, but I do appreciate it, Randy, Mike, y'all allowing me to be here, and your listeners taking time to listen and to evaluate, and I hope they vote their heart, and if they will, vote for me, and I'll be the best friend they can have at the state level.
Thank you for coming, Mr. Stewart. We're going to post this video. I've videotaped Attorney Fortier as well, and so I want to run both of them at the same time, though, so people will have an opportunity to judge for yourself. I'm not trying to influence either way. Okay, and we're going to take a break. I'm sure we're going to have. I'm going to stick around for a little while, and so we're going to take this break first, and I'll be back with more right after this.
If I can send you a couple of them that I have.